If you're a musician, artist, or a producer, you already know that the hardest part isn't the music, it's the money, not making it, but making it consistently. One month you're up, and then the next month you're down. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to break out of that cycle and build reliable, predictable income as a creative without selling your soul, signing to a label, or chasing the algorithm all day. I'm Josh Ortiz. I'm the financial musician. I help artists, musicians, and creatives break free from trading time for money by learning how to monetize their music so that their income can scale. Now, I'm going to talk mostly principles because if we grasp these principles, everything else is a trickle down effect from there. So, the first thing we need to understand is how to monetize your music. Excuse me. We need to understand the modern economy. Traditionally, right, people spend most, in order to make money, people spend time to make money. We need to understand that that's not the way the modern economy works. It's based on value. What value can you create that you can consistently monetize over a period of time, right? So what valuable thing can you as an artist, musician, producer, creative, create that can monetize consistently? So let's talk about a few examples here, right? Let's say if you have a live show, right? Most artists that I talk to, they want to do, they say, I want to start doing some live gigs. This is an example, and it can apply to musicians, artists, and creatives. Instead of doing and focusing your time on creating live gigs, maybe, yeah, go ahead, do that, right? No problem. But what I would do is instead of doing live gigs, I'd probably focus a lot of my time and energy on creating a digital asset, like a virtual show, right? Where this is a live performance with you, your music, your artist, with your band or whatever, and recording that in video and audio format and making that really good. I spend my majority of time and energy on doing a virtual show. Why? Because now I can send this to my audience, and I don't need to have a massive audience, right? But I can monetize this video asset, this digital asset that I recorded. And if I have, let's just say 1,000 subscribers, I would say it's not that hard today to get 1,000 subscribers, whether it be online or whatever platform you have. And I sell it to that platform for $5. To those individuals on my platform, to those subscribers for $5, right? Now that's $5 times 1,000 people that buy it. You just made $5,000, right? How long? Now let's think this through. How long would it take for you to make $5,000 playing live shows? Your income right there would be limited to time. You'd have to do not hundreds, but you need to do a couple of shows to make $5,000. And then if you want to make more money, you have to go start doing more shows, right? But if you create this virtual show, this digital asset, more of a product, you can sell that once, twice, 3 times and consistently sell it. It lives in this digital place where you can consistently monetize it over time, right? So we have to adapt the mentality of the new economy, right? Like if I had to go back into the music business and start all over again, the last thing I do is go and practice a bunch of music and learn a bunch of material or try to find shows. Now, obviously I'm saying that assuming that most of you guys are really good at what you do. If you suck, go get good at music. But I start thinking the 80-20 principle, right? What is the 80-20 principle? The 80-20 principle is that 20% of your efforts produce 80% of your results, right? So we have to start thinking, what is the 20% that I need to put most of my time and energy into so that I can create higher outputs, right? Now that we understand the new economy and we have to start creating more valuable digital assets and stuff like that. What can I do what can I create? What is my 20% effort? What is the 20% that I need to solve for to put all my effort into that so I can create higher 80% results, if that makes sense? So we need to learn marketing and sales, and that's usually where like a lot of artists, musicians, and creatives that I meet, they kind of hate that. And it feels kind of intuitive for us, right, to go out there and start learning marketing and sales. Now, if that's something you don't want to do, and I probably suggest that most don't do it, partner up with someone who knows how to do it, right? Because this is like one of the most important things for artists and musicians to monetize and to have success and move the needle forward is to understand marketing and sales. And like I said, I know that for most artists and musicians, that's kind of counterintuitive. But if I went back into the music business today, I wouldn't start with the art. I'd start by solving how to monetize my music and art and creating a product or an offer around monetization, right? So let's talk a little bit about what marketing is. Marketing is communicating your product and your offer to your market, right? So that's all it is. It's just the language that we use to communicate to our market. Now, the next thing we need to understand, the next thing we need to do to understand marketing is who is our market, who is our audience, who is your target demographic that you're selling to, right? Or that you're trying to get to reach to, right? So let's kind of go into some practical stuff. There's two types of, I guess, audiences. There's B2B and then there's B2C. And this is like more marketing and sales that I'm talking right now. But B2B is business to business sales or business to business marketing, right? Are you trying to sell your product to a business or are you trying to sell it to a consumer? B2B is business to business, B2C is business to consumer, right? So how did that apply in our context as musicians, producers, creatives, artists? If I'm trying to land the gig as a musician, let's just say, or as a singer, I want to work with a wedding band. I want to start doing wedding gigs, right? I have to understand that a wedding agency is a business. So I'm offering my services to a wedding agency. So that's my target audience. That's my market right there, right? Wedding agencies. If I'm trying to sign a record deal, that's B2B, business to business. If I'm selling live, if I'm doing a live show and I'm selling tickets for my live show, now I'm selling to consumers, right? I'm selling live tickets and merch, most likely, to everyday people. So on and so forth, right? If I'm working I'm trying to land a gig at a church, well, a church, though it's nonprofit sector, it's still considered a business, right? So it's just a more public. So I have to understand how to communicate to them from their perspective, right? And again, this is just understanding who your audience is, or some people call it who is your avatar, and communicate from that perspective. It's using messages and language that resonates with your audience. So let's say I were to try to sell real estate, right? If I were to try to sell real estate, I'm just using this as an example. I wouldn't spend time trying to convince potential prospects who wanted to buy a house. I wouldn't spend time communicating or trying to convince to them to buy a house. What I'd focus on is like their pain points and the outcome that they want, right? I try to understand their financial situation. What is the pain points they have as a renter? What do they want in a home? Why do they want a home, right? Maybe they have a bunch of kids. Maybe they have 3, 4, 5. I'm in Texas, so people have a ton of kids out here. Maybe they want a bigger place for their kids. So I try to communicate from that perspective. Instead of trying to convince them to buy a house, I talk about how would your kids feel once they have the house? How would you feel once you see your kids running in this big backyard, right? That's what I'm talking about. Marketing is using language and messaging that resonates with that audience. That way, once I communicate from that perspective, now they're doing their selling to themselves, right? And that leads me to the next point, sales, right? What is sales? Let's break down what sales is. Sales is collecting money for the exchange of goods and services. And here's the truth. Most creatives that I talk to when it comes to collecting money, right, they're using Venmo and Zelle. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But the problem with that is that I still have to see you face to face in order for that transaction to go, or there's some kind of, we need more of like online digital. That's not a bad place to start, but here's the problem. Like, what if I wanted to buy your product or your service right now? I have to find your number, look your email up, so on and so forth. But what if I had a link that will lead you to like a landing page where you can buy instantly, right? Most artists and musicians don't have that. So what we get out of this is that we need to create like an online storefront, a system. We use technology. We need to stay up to date with our technology in order to get that result that we're trying to get, which is to get sales done fast through a link. Almost think about it like something that makes your sales process as easy as Amazon, as buying something on Amazon, right? Like if I wanted something from Amazon right now, I don't have to get up, go to my car, drive 5, 10, 15 minutes away to get it. I can just go on Amazon and look it up and buy it in a matter of 2 minutes. If you don't have systems like this in place, this is where we need to start in order to understand how to start monetizing our music, right? So just kind of a couple points here that I think if you just implement some of these points, right, you'll never look at your music career in the same way again. The artists who win aren't the most talented. They have the best systems in place. If you got something out of the video, don't like and don't subscribe. Instead, drop a comment below and tell me one thing I said today that you would want me to explain or break down in detail. And I'll make my next video specifically answering your question. That way I can give you guys more value. Till next time, peace.